Am I overreacting? I just realized my family has been neglecting me for years and I haven't realized. Have you ever felt invisible in your own family? Like you were just there, but never really seen? I never thought much about it growing up, but now, at 22, it's hitting me like a ton of bricks. I've been neglected for years and I'm only just realizing it. It's not like they mistreated me outright, but rather, they just never acknowledged me in the way I needed. And now, looking back, I can't help but wonder, was this normal? Or was I simply overlooked? I should have seen the signs earlier. The quiet moments, the unasked questions, the times I waited for someone to notice me, and no one ever did. I'm the oldest of three kids. I have a younger brother who's 19 and a sister who's 16. You'd think that being the eldest would come with some perks. More responsibility, yes, but also more recognition. Instead, I've always felt like an afterthought, like my existence was simply assumed rather than acknowledged. My parents were always physically present, but emotionally, it was like they were ghosts, watching, but never truly engaging. And the worst part? I didn't even notice it was happening until I got older. There were moments growing up that should have made me question things. My parents forgetting to pick me up after school, my birthday passing with barely a mention, the way my younger siblings would run to them for comfort while I stayed back, already knowing it wouldn't make a difference. But I shrugged it off. I convinced myself it was normal. My parents were always busy with work, and while I understand they had to provide for the family, their emotional absence left a void that I didn't even recognize at the time. I don't recall them ever asking how my day was or what was happening in my life. If I had a problem, I had to figure it out on my own. If I needed help with school, I had to either do it myself or ask someone else. When I got sick, I was expected to take care of myself as best as I could. I became independent not because I wanted to, but because I had no other choice. There were no bedtime stories, no check-ins, no deep conversations about life, just a quiet expectation that I would manage things on my own, and I did. At the same time, I watched as my younger siblings received a different kind of attention. When my brother struggled with something, my parents were there, listening, offering advice. When my sister was upset, my mom would drop everything to comfort her. It wasn't that I was jealous of them. I love my siblings. But I couldn't help but wonder why I didn't get the same treatment. Why was I expected to be strong while they were allowed to be vulnerable? The signs were always there. I just refused to see them. Things really hit me when I moved out a couple of months ago. I thought this would be a big moment. Maybe they'd be proud of me for starting a new chapter, for becoming independent in the way they always wanted. But nothing. No congratulations. No, we'll miss you. Not even a simple check-in to see if I'd settled in okay. The only time they noticed I was gone, when they needed to borrow my car, that was it. I tried to tell myself it didn't matter, that I was fine on my own. But then I had a conversation with my mom that changed everything. I finally decided to tell her how I felt, how I had always felt invisible, like I was just expected to handle everything alone while my siblings were nurtured and supported. And do you know what she said? "You've always been so independent. I thought you'd be fine." That's when it hit me. My independence wasn't seen as a strength. It was an excuse to overlook me, to assume I didn't need what everyone else needed. And the worst part, they didn't even realize they had done it. I should have expected that response. After all, it was the same reaction I'd gotten my entire life. But the biggest blow came just a few weeks ago. It was my mom's birthday, and my family always does something for it. A dinner, a small get-together, nothing too fancy. I wasn't expecting a big invitation, but I did expect at least a mention of it. I found out about it completely by accident. My brother casually mentioned it a couple of days before. "Yeah, we're doing a little dinner for Mom," he said. Wait, what dinner? No one had told me. No one had invited me. At first, I thought maybe it was a last-minute thing, or maybe they assumed I was busy. But then I saw the pictures, my parents, my siblings, family friends, everyone except me. When I asked my dad about it, he was surprised, like it had never even crossed his mind to invite me. "Oh, we didn't think you'd want to come." That was the moment it all became painfully clear. It wasn't just an accident. I wasn't forgotten. I was simply not considered. And deep down, I think I always knew this was coming. For years, I've been holding on, waiting for my parents to notice me, to acknowledge my efforts, to show me that I mattered. But now I see that I was waiting for something that was never going to happen. I was only seen when it was convenient for them, and maybe, just maybe, I've been neglecting myself by trying so hard to be part of a family that doesn't seem to recognize me. It's a strange feeling coming to this realization. It's not anger, not exactly. It's more like grief. Grieving the childhood I never really had, the parental support I never truly received. And now I have to ask myself, where do I go from here? Do I keep chasing their approval, or do I finally start living for myself? I think I already know the answer. I don't know if I'm overreacting or if this is just how some families are. But if you've ever felt the same, like you're shouting into a void waiting to be heard, I want you to know you're not alone. Have you ever felt invisible in your own family? Have you ever been overlooked, not because of anything you did wrong, but simply because they assumed you didn't need anything from them? If this resonates with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's talk about it. Drop a comment below and let's figure this out together.